Good afternoon. I guess I have nothing really new to report, obviously, since yesterday. But, a little wet, ball's a little wet. New things went in this morning, so a lot of mental errors on both sides of the ball. We'll try to get better from it, but they were a little slower today than they were yesterday. Yesterday was kind of basic. Today kind of picked up a little bit, and it's a natural progression. So, we'll move forward from there.
What have your early impressions been of Devin Smith when you had him on the field?
2 days, man. That's a hard question to ask. He's fast. All the things that you've seen on film in college. He's fast, and we know that. It's about understanding the offense right now, and they're not going to get it in 2 days. So, but he's a tough kid. He's smart. He's a hard worker, is what I like about him, and we'll see going forward what he does.
He said that he thought his crazy catch in 2012, the one-handed grab, was better than other ones. What do you think?
They both were about the same, I guess, depending on who was on what team and who won the game. You can argue one for the other, but they're both great one-handed catches, and there've probably been many more.
Todd, how do you balance in a camp like this of putting enough stuff in where you're testing their mental ability and stuff to pick up the system, but also not overwhelming them where you can't really evaluate them on the field because they so much?
Well, it's a fine line. You want them to play fast. The first thing I told the coaches is I want them to play fast. We want to see who can play and who can't. But at the same time, you have to put a little bit in, enough to make them think, to see who can develop, but not too much where they can't learn it. So, it's a fine line for some. Some it's easy, some it's hard. And you got to kind of see in between the lines what's what.
For 2 practices, given the competition is not necessarily what you'll be facing even in minicamp, what your thoughts been on Leonard, how he's looked? He looked pretty confident out there today.
No, he's in pretty good shape. Out of pads without offensive linemen being able to grab you and hit you up top and have more target to aim at is pretty tough to judge right now. But he's grasping the system very well, which is a good thing. And he's in shape, and he's where he's supposed to be. Right now for a two-hand touch, he's playing pretty good.
How do you? I kind of asked you about this before, but how are you going to try to get all the defensive ends on the field this season, just with Mo, Shelton, and Leonard now?
Well, it's a little early for that, but we'll see what downs and situations and what game plan will decide what. But to say that we'll get them all on the field right now and create a monster package in May is tough to say. During the season, we'll see who's good at what and how they work together, seeing who can pair with who.
I know it's only been 2 days, and you only get two. You only have 2 days to evaluate these guys, but the tryout players only have 3 days to make an impression. Are there any guys that have stood out to you?
Until I look at the film today, I can only go off yesterday. Yesterday, I hadn't seen too many that tried out that really stuck out, but I got to look at the film quite a few times. I've only seen it twice. I got to look at it a lot more times to see individually, go around the room and see who can do what.
You were spending some time on the offensive side of the field today during some of the drills. Do you see yourself as doing, even as through training camp, or do you see you'll gravitate more towards your roots on the defensive side?
Early on, I have to spend time over there. I mean, I know what the defense is doing. I can do that with my eyes closed, so it's important being a defensive head coach to get to know the offensive players as well as the system, so you can have open dialogue. So I'm going to spend most of my time over there looking, learning, watching, seeing, and correcting when need be. So it's important for me to spend some time over there. I can go back to the defensive side and kind of pick up where I left off, but on the offensive side, it's good for me to go over there and learn.
When you were in the off season, going through the process of interviewing and so forth, and even the year before, what was it about Chan that attracted you to him as a coordinator? Because you probably could have had your pick of a number of candidates, as an OC. So what was it about him that really jumped out? Because he was out for a couple of years.
It's more personality and scheme than it is a lot of things. You have to find the right guy. There's plenty of good ones out there. I thought Chan, for his personality with the offense, he's even-keeled as far as run-pass. He's not one or the other. He's even-keeled one way or the other. He has a good running game and a good passing game, and everybody that I've known, he's a great guy. He's a great individual. He's easy to talk to. He can reach players, and he can span the young ones as well as the old ones. So that made it a very good choice for me as far as the fit that I wanted and what I wanted my offense to look like. And Chan was the guy. Playing against him over a couple of years when I was in Miami and he was in Buffalo, kind of liked some of the things he did and adjustments he made, so that made him very appealing to me.
How did you know his personality, Todd? Because you guys hadn't worked together before, right?
Yeah, but we knew a lot of the same people, and over the years you talk and you get to know people in passing, so it was kind of easy for me.
Is that decision, was that something that you thought about, like going along, that, you know, if I ever become a head coach, this is the guy that I'd like to run my offense? Was that a thought in your mind as you...
It was a thought a year ago. It wasn't a thought 5 years ago because I had never even envisioned that. Until you get a bunch of interviews, you start taking it more seriously and you kind of narrow guys down that you want or guys that you could get because, you know, most of the good ones are taken. And Chan, obviously, I thought he was a very good one before he was a head coach, and it was a good pick for me.
Todd, you alluded to the things he did in Buffalo with the fact that he's run that spread, and you mentioned yesterday how more and more college programs are doing that, so these guys are used to running that sort of wide open stuff in college. Did that appeal to you, the fact that he has spread tendencies in his offense, and that that's the sort of thing that you'll see a lot of college kids be more used to coming into the league?
Actually, no. What appealed to me was when he was in Pittsburgh and he was able to run the football, you know, and he was at Georgia Tech, he was able to run the football. And obviously the passing game he has speaks for itself, so that makes him a balanced coordinator, which is more what I was looking for.
I noticed of the undrafted free agents you guys signed, only one is an offensive player. Was there a reasoning behind that, or is it just kind of the way it fell?
Well, we have a lot of guys already on the team at those offensive positions, and it's hard to sign more guys at that position that we can bring in as opposed to the other positions. We have a certain amount of head counts that we need to go into camp with, so that was the reason.
Generally coming out of this, teams will sign one or two tryout guys. Is there a possibility that you wouldn't sign any tryout guys, or would you expect one or three?
It's possible. Honestly, it's possible. I'll go back and look at the film, and then we'll meet as a coaching staff after that, and we'll decide who's who. But it's very possible.
Todd, given that you added Leonard with the first pick, I know you blitzed a lot in Arizona. Do you still expect to be blitzing a lot here, or do you feel that with the strength that you have on that defensive line, you may not need to do it as much as maybe you've done in the past?
It'd be a little of both. All depends on the game. You know, if we're getting there with 4 and 3 and we can rush and cover more, we'll probably do that. If we can't get there with the 4 rush guys, then we'll probably add 1 or 2.